Hi everybody, this is Caroline Sotheby and welcome to Up, Down, and Around Town. Well, as you can see, we're now back in the studio, and before I go to my colleague over there, I got to make you aware that the American Legion was supposed to have their blood drive today at 11:36. They started having people lined up and found out that the Red Cross personnel were sick. So there'll be another day coming. There were 48 people lined up to give blood, so congratulations to those who wanted to do it, and hope you can come back when they have scheduled another date, and we'll keep you aware of that. Okay, another thing, back in March, there was a fitness marathon supposed to be at Copeland Center. It was supposed to help a cancer victim by the name of Dawn. And then, of course, the pandemic came, everything was closed down. That is rescheduled, and instead of being Copeland Center, it's going to be in Taylor, and it's going to be Harrington Pavilion, which was a former ice arena. And that's Sunday, this coming Sunday, July 26th, registered between 11 to 12 noon. Classes will be 45 minutes. 12 to 12:45, 1 to 1:45, and 2 to 2:45. If you want more information, 771-8387. All right, now that we're back in the studio, I got to introduce Richard Campbell, because you probably saw his name, field producer, but wonder who he is. And okay, Rich, a new setup, not on the road, but today in the studio. What do you think? Do you like it better, or what's the comparison?
Obviously, I like being on the road better because it's more hands-on for me. Throughout my career, I've always been an associate producer and a writer. I've never actually, I've got a camera and I went out and shot video as a hobby. But in terms of editing and shooting video, this is something new for me.
Yeah.
Going on the road has been an amazing experience, because it's like if you want to learn French and you go to France and you're totally surrounded by people speaking the language.
You get to know it.
You get to know it, and that's how it's been for me. When you have to edit a weekly half-hour show, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn from your mistakes. It was such a healthy experience for me, especially during a pandemic when mm-hmm. This was the safest thing. I could practice social isolation and still interview people. Mm-hmm. That presented a challenge. I learned a lot about audio.
Right.
I learned it's nice. That little mic that you can pin on somebody is nice because you get great audio, but you can't do that in a pandemic.
Right.
So you have to learn about boom mics and the mic on your camera and stuff like that. So it was a learning experience where I learned a lot, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I'm at a much better place than I was 4 months ago.
Yeah. And of course, like we say, even though we're going to be here a good portion of the time, hopefully, there's still an awful lot to cover on the road, and so you'll see us around and getting interviews, which if you stay long enough and watch this program, you're going to find out we still have a couple more that'll be coming on. Anyway, I think the next it couldn't be a problem. We had gone to the farmer's market, which was different this year. It was in front of City Hall. You actually got to know the lady from Biddle Hall, because you bought some stuffed cabbage.
Oh, it was amazing. Stuffed cabbage was so good. I'm going back this Thursday. I'm getting more. It was so good.
And of course, with that, you got to talk to her, and she said that she fixed up for the Biddle Hall, of course, with distancing and everything else. So it took us 3 weeks to finally get to see her. But what else did you really think about, it's supposed to be farmer's market, but I think it was a little different this time.
Here's the thing. I got to tell you something. I grew up here, okay? went to college, graduated from college, moved to California. There's a lot about, I lived mostly in San Diego. There is so much about Wyandotte that reminds me of San Diego. It's no surprise that I settled, after moving back to Michigan, I settled in Wyandotte because there's so much in common with a
Really?
lot of West Coast cities. And I found that that's like the farmers market, for example. That's something you would see in California. That's an event in California that people actually plan to go to. Like, okay, meet me at the farmers market at the corner of First and Main or something like that.
Yeah.
That is an event in California that people plan to go to. And here in Wyandotte, it's the same. Wyandotte has, of all the cities downriver, Wyandotte reminds me the most of California.
And, of course, you're here now.
Yeah.
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 Okay, we did get something, though, from the Facebook. Amy got something that Heather has put on. Along with the market, there's also going to be entertainment. And that is supposed to be from now, well, it says all Thursdays. So.
Yes, the Beats on Biddle is a weekly downtown entertainment. It's going to be from 3 to 5. Lonnie Stump will be at Sycamore and Biddle. And then from 5 to 7, Ask Mary will be appearing in the same place at Sycamore and Biddle. From 5 to 7, also Princess Party. And this is all on June 23rd. This is this Thursday, or June 23rd coming up. And then the Second Time Band will be playing at the Gallery Way Alley from 7 to 9. The Gallery Way Alley, we went there. We did a story on it, and it's just a really cool place.
Yeah.
It's next to Frank's.
Yeah, Frank's Pizzeria.
Pizza.
Yeah.
And what's the other? I forget the other.
It started
place.
on C. It's Caldera or something like that. It
Yeah.
had something to do with skin and that. But I think they're going out of business. But it's on the south side of Frank's Pizzeria. And if they had seen it, they probably would have realized that Riggs was the portrait artist, and they have, what, about 5 of his portraits on one side and 3 on the other side. And then, of course, when they had the Ice and Fire, they had, we had, what, a turtle? What was it?
Oh, the statues carved out of wood.
Yeah.
A turtle, like a pelican type looking thing, and then a wolf.
Yeah.
Because they all had the bandanas on, the face coverings.
And so that was something different, and it's nice because you can sit there and enjoy yourself, talk, eat, and of course, like you said, now there's going to be entertainment on that Thursday night. So that's a little different too. So maybe we'll have to go with the camera and get some footage. Why not? Okay, maybe you can intro into Biddle Hall because that was your baby.
Well, the way I met Leah Stefanski, her and her husband just recently bought Biddle Hall. I love stuffed cabbage, and I saw the sign Polish food. So immediately I went over there and I bought the stuffed cabbage. Yeah. And then I think you came up because I was supposed to, and you're like, well, what do you got there? What are you eating? And then when I went back to the thing, I saw, or no, you had saw Biddle Hall, and I go, I wonder about that place. Mm-hmm. I think it was under construction or remodel or something. And then we went up and we talked to Leah Stefanski. Yeah. So
last Monday, we did go down there and got a little talk from her, right?
Yep.
Okay.
My husband Jeremy and I bought the Biddle Hall in 2017. We came across the hall. He's a DJ, does a lot of weddings and parties. We were here in 2016, and the previous owners, Ron and Kathy Daly, told us that they were retiring and selling at the end of the year. So I thought it might be fun to look into buying the hall. So I told my husband we should probably look at buying the Biddle Hall. And the way home, he laughed at me. and I laughed too. 6 months later, the hall went on the market, and we got a realtor. We took a look at it, and it looked like it was a feasible possibility, so we decided to take a leap and start a new adventure here in Wyandotte. The previous owners, Ron and Kathy Daly, had done Polish dinners, and one of the first requests that we got when we had opened up the hall, or reopened the hall after they had retired, was, when are you going to start doing Polish dinners? And my husband and I are both Polish as well, and I said, well, people love my stuffed cabbage, so let's give it a shot. So in March of 2018, we started doing all-you-can-eat Polish dinners. The first couple ones were good learning processes, and then we kind of got it down to a science, and we continued to do them, and the demand kept growing and growing and growing for them. So we continued to do them on our downtime in the off season, and it's been a lot of fun for us. We've been doing all of the cabbage rolls in-house with my recipe. We also started adventuring into the fresh kielbasa using my husband's grandma's recipe. So we do it 100% from scratch using her recipe, and people seem to really enjoy it. We're really big foodies, and we enjoy really good fresh food. So everything that we prepare here is from scratch. We steer away from using frozen and pre-prepared foods. So we put a lot of love and time into everything that we do. But our banquet menu has chicken, beef, fish, vegetarian options, as well as we get all of our dinner rolls from the Caprara Bakery on North Line in Southgate. They bake them fresh for us for every single event, and they do a wonderful job. So I don't spend every single day here at the hall. I do it by appointment only, but we also live in Wyandotte, just on the other side of Wyandotte, so it's about a 5 to 10 minute drive for me to get up here for an appointment. So even if I'm sitting at home and you call me and say, hey Leah, can I come look at the hall? I'm always happy to run down here and show you the hall. So when we bought the hall in 2017, we ran the hall 2018 and 2019. At the end of last year, 2019 in December, we closed for about a month, 4 to 5 weeks, and we put a big chunk of money into the hall. We ripped up all the flooring, we had it painted, we refinished the bar, and we remodeled the entire space to kind of bring it into the new decade. How about you come on down and check out the new renovations that we've done this year to the Biddle Hall?
Okay, that was interesting because at one time they had many of the Hall of Fame dinners over there. That was when this Barbara was living and her sister, and they owned the place. Then, of course, like she said, there was another owner, and they took over from them just recently. So with this pandemic, I mean, like she is set up for the distancing, which is great. It's a whole new way of trying to get people in to make them aware of their wares, because like she said, with the market, it gave them a chance to go out, talk to people, for people to taste their food and make questions and talk back and forth. So it's a whole marketing thing that's a little different. And we've done a lot of coverage with the bars and the restaurants, how they're doing, how they went from one phase to another phase. So with that, though, even we went to Biddle Hall. We went also down the block because we wanted to see if Traffic Jam was open at that time. Now, you know, they must have had a bad situation because they had moved from their smaller spot to what was a bridal shop before, and they had an awful lot of gowns, but there was no senior prom, there was nothing like that. So I'm sure they were hurting in the last couple of months, but we found out that they are going to be open Wednesdays through Saturdays between 12 and 6. And so at least that's comforting to know that they haven't gone out of business. They're still going to be there. And hopefully people will come back in and see what they can have. They had some nice articles in there. He happened to take that shot from the window. So for anybody wanting to know, Traffic Jam is officially open from Wednesdays to Saturdays from 12 to 6 p.m. Something else that's sort of different too, we went around the corner, and even though Whiskies have their business, the side patio is where they have a lot of tables, but there's something else in the back. And so we had to have a sneak preview and show you that Whiskey's has a beer garden in the back part of the parking lot. So at least we got some coverage. If you want to have idea what's going on town and maybe you don't get there, this is one way of making you familiar with the city of Wyandotte, and especially downtown. They were busy last Saturday. Tried to go and get parking spots. That was sort of inconvenient for some people. But at least for somebody that is at home with you taking your camera shots, we can give them an idea what's going on. So from there, I think we sort of covered some of the businesses, but I think maybe you have something that Amy just officially gave you for Mayor Peterson.
Yes, this is a memorial service for our former mayor, Joe Peterson, that was planned by the Peterson family. And this will be, memorial service will have military honors. It's been planned Thursday, July 23rd at 2 p.m. And that will be at Our Lady of Hope Cemetery on Allen Road in Brownstown Township. If I'm not mistaken, it's between Pennsylvania and Eureka on Allen Road. It's on the right-hand side as you're heading north.
Okay. So for some people that didn't get a chance to go the weekend that he passed away and go around the fire department area, it's another chance to be over there and give the family a big hug. Well, we can't hug anymore, but I mean, say, hey, we miss him. And that's Thursday too. That's a lot of things are happening, and as long as we're talking about memorials and that, I got to make you aware that St. Vincent Pallotti usually had their festival around the Mother's Day weekend. That was canceled. They are now going to officially have the raffle August 1st. So if you still have that envelope with the raffle tickets and say, hey, okay, either fill them out or toss them, whatever way you want. Mount Carmel is also going to have a different situation because they usually have theirs in August. And this time, they're not going to have it either. I have to talk to Father Mark and get an idea what arrangements they're going to be making. But I know one thing. Father Mark has confessions on the outside in the back garden area. And that's on Saturdays between 3 o'clock. And Father suggested you park down Superior, go to the back. There's going to be cones there, 6-foot distancing. And if you want to have a confession, make it Saturdays at 3 o'clock. Okay, so that takes care of our religious part. You got to talk about our next segment because we had a couple of her segments on already, but how did you get to know our garden lady?
Sarah.
Yeah.
Just a delightful person. Just a delightful person. You ever meet somebody and you just automatically like that person? Not even after 30 seconds of talking to them, you just like them. That's the case with her. I was driving down. We had just gotten done doing intros. I think we were at
City Hall.
City Hall, yeah. I had the camera. I'm driving down 3rd Street. I turn left on Vinewood to go home, and I see this guy, and he's got a little 3-year-old, I presume it was his son, and they're out working in this raised garden. So I pulled over. I said, hey, what are you doing? What is this? And he explained to me that it's a school garden. They use it as a tool for the kids, you know. And the lady who was in charge was around front. So immediately I go around front. What school is that, McKinnon?
Garfield.
Or Garfield.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go up and I walk up and I see the lady there. I'm like, hey, what is this? What are you doing? And at first she didn't. She was probably wondering, who the heck is this? But I took and started talking to her. I told her who I was and stuff like that. And we had just done a story on Alice and Maggie. Okay, and then I saw the sign there where she had won a beautification award. And so we were talking about that. I wanted to interview her right then and there because I told her I got my camera in the truck. No, give me a day. So that's when I took and made arrangements to come and interview her the next day. And then I had called you and said, you got to come with me. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think she's got one more interview left, and maybe we can go to that, okay?
Okay, I've been asked, I live in Wyandotte, I want to start a garden, what do I do? My answer is to not overthink it. Go to the store, find what you like, bring it home. Read your labels, but don't take them as, you know, the end-all and be-all. Look for your light. If you have light or shade, put it in the right spot. Put your tall stuff in the back, your short stuff in the front, and just water it and enjoy it. Don't overthink it. A lot of gardening, I think, is just a leap of faith. Even people who are really good at gardening don't always get it right. Plants are going to do what they want, and most of the time I think they surprise you. Our kindergarten teacher who started this with me, she's become quite a good friend, saying we had won a beautification award. And I'm not going to lie, I've wanted one for years, and it took the help of 75 kids to get it. And actually, I think I much prefer that. They were all very proud. The Beautification Commission made quite a fuss. They saved us for last. They invited the students to attend the meeting. They did a slideshow, and I think the kids just couldn't have been prouder. I think it's important to mention that I'm working with a lot of really young students here, 5, 6, 7 years old, and I don't expect them to understand or retain a lot of what I'm trying to teach them. What I do hope is that even just a handful of them fall in love with gardening or being outside or critters, bugs, butterflies, then that's a success. If I wanted to start this story at the beginning, I would start with my own father, who was an avid gardener, absolutely adored his yard, and from a very young age included me in all parts of it, big jobs, small jobs. I can hear my mother yelling out the back window for him to knock it off. She doesn't know what you're doing, she's going to get hurt. But he always included me, and that was a lifelong gift that he gave me, I think. When I was older and I'd just been married, I was living out of state. I had just had my first son, and I came home for a visit. And my father's beloved yard was just a disaster, and he had not been out there. He was sick, he had cancer, and he was unable to do the work that he loved so much. And because he couldn't do that, he wasn't enjoying his yard at all. In that weekend, I was able to set things right again. And I think that's when it became clear to me that even though you can't wrap such a thing up in paper in a big bow, a garden can absolutely be a gift. And it just keeps on giving all kinds of joy and little secrets. And that's what I really want kids to get from it. A lot of this garden has to do with pollinators, specifically butterflies, more specifically monarch butterflies, which is something that I have reared at home for probably the last 5 or 6 years. Our first year with this garden here, I kept count of how many monarch butterflies we collected. And we successfully raised and released over 200 monarch butterflies from this garden alone, which was quite a feat that first year, because at the time we only had 4 of their host plants. Through the summers even, school's not in session, we have fewer visitors, but kids as young as 5, these were students who had completed their Young Fives program and had not entered kindergarten yet, were raising swallowtails at home, visiting the gardens with their parents or grandparents to collect food to feed them. So when they got to kindergarten, they had a bit of a leg up on some of the other students. And when I would come in and I would introduce myself and explain to them, I think they were very proud of themselves, because they already knew Miss Sarah, the garden lady, the butterfly lady. They knew what I was talking about. They had observations to share with their peers. We had a volunteer donate the funds needed to register this as a Monarch Way Station. And what that means is this site provides, though small, provides food, shelter, water, host plants. So this is listed on the National Registry of Monarch Way Stations. I believe our high school followed suit and is now also a registered Monarch Way Station.
You could get her to talk and talk and talk. We'll have to keep in touch with her to find out what's going to develop from there. Anyway, we have a lot of things we still have to get on the road. We'll probably call Dr. Cost and find out what's happening in, are the kids getting back to school, what their situations are. We went last week also and got a little bit of an old house that's being renovated, and Corky Benson gave us information. You went and took all the basement, the regular, and the upstairs and the outside, and we learned a lot that day about sewage and how down the pipes go and what they were and what they can be now, and how to get those lines down under, oh boy.
We learned a lot. It was like a mini lesson in code enforcement. Not only that, but rodent control.
Yeah.
We learned a lot about rodents and where they hang out and stuff like that, because apparently before they got in there, that was a big problem at that 504 Poplar.
Yeah.
Is the property that they're redoing now. But I'll bet it's going to look really good when they get done.
Yeah. I mean, Corky said this is their 39th project. So they've been on the road, so to speak, too, and asked why they usually get those homes. It's because it's less than the 50-foot consideration. If they demolish the place, they'd not be able to put another building on there.
Because the lot isn't 50 foot, at least 50 foot deep, so you can't rebuild on it.
So this way, they take care of the house that's on there. And hey, before we go, what's happening this weekend at the city parking lot?
Okay. It isn't summertime without a shaved ice. Razzie's Hawaiian Shaved Ice Shop trailer will be in the City Hall parking lot Thursday through Saturday. Come and visit them and get a favorite summertime sweet treat.
Of course, you have to pay for it, but why not? Hey, thanks, Rich. Of course, we'll keep you posted. There's a lot more going on. So hopefully next time you will see Rich or myself on the road or in here. So take care. We'll see you next time on Up, Down, and Around Town. Bye now.